nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hi. First of all, thanks for inviting all of us to California to this event.
Yeah.
And
I would say it's my pleasure, but I had nothing to do with it.
just for you, just representing Blizzard, and this is a huge opportunity for all of us.
Oh, cool.
Just wanted to get that out of the way.
Good. I'm glad it's out of the way.
No, just to...
I'm happy to be here.
So today we got introduced to the new rank update.
Yeah.
And how did you approach this big change to Heroes of the Storm? So how did you started to think about it, and what was your thought process on this whole thing?
Right, so we've gotten a lot of feedback from our players and also from us internally. Like, I've been stuck at rank 1 for 11 months. We've been frustrated with the system ourselves. Our players have been frustrated with it. And in taking all this time, we actually got a good suite of feedback from all the players and realized, there's a variety of issues to address. We need to start from scratch. We think it will be a show of good faith to the players to be like, you know what, we screwed up. Okay. Here's a free update for you, and hopefully this is kind of more what you're looking for. And so, we looked at all the feedback, and we tried to, we looked at what made StarCraft 2 successful. It really was inspirational for us, looking at their league system. And we tried to see what we could mimic from there, what we thought worked well. We also looked over at the Hearthstone system, which was originally what the 50 rank system was inspired by. And like, well, what worked well with Hearthstone? What worked well with Hearthstone? Their Grandmaster system. Okay. And that's kind of like, it's partially some of the inspiration from there. Also, I think StarCraft 2 does something very similar. But we kind of looked at that system, we felt like it was doing better the things we wanted the system to do. It was just a better system. And so, we set to work to designing. There's a lot of back and forth emails. What should the player population distributions be? That kind of stuff. And so we were looking at all that. It was a long, drawn out process of like making sure we got all of our ducks in a row, make sure we hit every piece of feedback, because we want to get this right. We feel like we kind of goofed, and so we wanted to make it much better.
Are you ever planning on showing some more of some numbers? I know that you're especially for heroes, that you are a little bit hesitant to show specific numbers.
We've talked about showing your MMR.
Yeah.
There's definitely pros and cons to it. I think for some people it's really attractive.
Yeah.
For some people, it's not that it's unattractive to them. It's just that if you actually gave it to them, it would become repulsive. They just don't know it.
Okay.
Right? And so we're at this awkward spot where it's like some people really want it, and you know what? They would benefit from it. Some people don't know that they don't want it. So, what do we do? And so we talked about maybe we surface it through the replay files, so that, you can find your MMR. It's just really hidden. So that those hardcore guys who really want it, they can get it, but everybody else is softly shielded from it. Or maybe we publish it on our website. And so, you can find it. You just have to go to the website. Okay. Or maybe we do show it in client. Oh, but maybe it's hidden under a tooltip. Or maybe, no, we just show you MMR. Like, there's so many different ways we could do it. So we've talked a lot about it. We're not necessarily opposed to, like, say, the replay, the most soft one where, like, it's so buried you have to go digging. Maybe that's okay. I don't know. We're still having that discussion. We're listening to the community feedback. We have some ideas, and so we'll kind of see what starts to shake out. But we have some solves, up our sleeve. We're just kind of waiting to see, like, hey, does this new league system, which better distributes players along the curve, is that enough, or do you really want it? No, you're 2,600. Oh, you lost the game. You're 25-54. Are you okay with that? Is that what you want? Maybe that is what you want. I don't know. How hardcore are you as a player? Right?
Okay. So we also saw 2 new heroes today. And how do you actually plan? How long do you plan heroes beforehand?
So to give you some context, I finished Chromie and Medivh in August of last year.
Oh, okay.
We work 9 months out in advance, so it takes quite a while from a hero to go from start to ship.
Crazy.
So we design lock about 5 months before the hero ships. So I think we design locked them in. Well, actually, this is a secret. They slipped a little internally, and so I had to take some extra time to finish. And we had some restructuring going internally. I don't think I locked them until November and December. I was supposed to lock them in like late October.
Also for special heroes like Tracer.
Oh yeah.
Because I guess her release was coupled to the Overwatch release.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know either. It was just
there was definitely, we wanted to like, hey, Overwatch is coming. This seems like a great opportunity. Yeah. They roughly know when they're coming out. Well, okay, we can try to slot it for one of those 2 releases. And so we were excited to jump the gun. I think originally we kind of had like a gentleman's agreement to not ship an Overwatch hero until they shipped their game. But they kind of came to us and were like, hey, we would love to see Tracer in the Nexus. We're like, yeah. Okay, let's do it then. Yes. And like, all right, let's try to line up our schedules. And so there's definitely a little bit of that. We are looking ahead. We are trying to be smart. Like, there's a certain movie coming out around the same time Medivh launches.
Actually, just as a coincidence.
Just a sheer coincidence. Yeah. Nothing else to it than that. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that going on. So yeah, we are trying to do some of that. There's also a lot of like the art team wants to get different looks in the game. Okay. They want to get different silhouettes. Like Chromie was great. It's like, oh, it's a tiny little gnome. We haven't done that before. That looks different, you know. And so we have a lot of needs. Or sometimes the game design's like, guys, we could really use a 4th mage. It would really shake up competitive play if 2 mages get banned, but there's still 2 mages to pick because mages seem to be very popular among competitive players. Okay, cool. Chromie could do that as well, right? So there's, or in Medivh's case, off-support utility character could be really interesting for competitive players.
So that's pretty interesting because when you plan heroes, do you have ideas and concepts for specific roles, and then you try to find a hero from the Blizzard universe that would fit it, or is it the other way around?
It's both.
Okay.
Sometimes we have a mechanic we want to put in the game. Sometimes we have a character we want to put in the game. And so we've had to go both ways. Abathur was a mechanic. Leoric was a mechanic. We wanted a guy who never died. I think originally he was Malthael, and then we actually switched it to Leoric because we thought it was a better fit on the Skeleton King, right? Yeah. But originally it was going to be Malthael, the Angel of Death. Oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. But, isn't it cooler if it's a Skeleton King and he's a Skeletal Ghost and he's a Skeletal King? Like, oh yeah, that's better. Like, in the art team's like, we want to do Leoric over Malthael first. Okay. Like, okay, cool. Like, so sometimes, we have a mechanic that drives that. Abathur was like, we want to do that commander that never enters battle. And our team was like, could we do Abathur as a slug? That would be really cool. I'm like, oh, okay. So there's definitely, sometimes it's mechanics. Sometimes the art team's like, we really want this shape in the game. Oh, okay. Well, if we're given a look, we want to design around like making sure that, when a player sees a character, they're just by seeing something, you have a visual expectation. We want to match that expectation. That is a game designer's first and foremost job is, match players' expectations and only break them when it's a fun, exciting break that they're happy about. You don't want to break the expectation in a bad way. That's So there's definitely a lot of like, let's look at the character. What do you expect to happen? And try to play that up and then take it to the next level.
Okay. So now we got 2 Warcraft heroes. Are the games just the heroes are from chosen randomly, or are those planned?
We try to keep a good mix of never staying on one franchise for too long, and we're gonna flip. It's just gonna happen. Yeah. We're gonna have 2 many in a row, for instance. But we did try before Chromie Medivh, we had an Overwatch character and then a StarCraft character and then 2 Diablo characters. So it's like, we haven't done Warcraft in a while. Although technically we had 3 to 4 Warcraft characters right before them, if you count Cho, Gaul, and Lunara and Graven, right? So there's definitely like, they're up, but we did a streak. So there's definitely some like peppering it in when we can. I think no matter what though, given our studio, given what we've done, we're probably going to be a little Warcraft heavy. I think that's okay. I think it's okay. I think Warcraft has such a old. Because when we look at our fans, and we get that response from fans, like, it's all Warcraft. But at the same time, we'll see fan polls go up, and it's like, which universe do you love the most? And it's Warcraft. It's like, well, you guys say you want one thing, and then you actually want, or we look at the number of heroes that they expect to be in the game by now, and it's like 80% Warcraft characters. Okay. It's like, dudes, we love you guys, but like, you guys clearly want Warcraft characters, so we're gonna keep making them. So.
Is it the same with the roles the heroes have?
That one we try to be very diverse on. Okay. We try to make sure, I think we're going to naturally make probably more assassins than anything else, just because games typically have more assassins. So it makes more sense that we provide a wider variety, that it helps shake up the games the most by doing that. And so, but we are trying to be conscious about making sure we do have warriors and supports and siege characters and just general oddballs like Medivh as well.
Yeah. And how about heroes that don't fit in a specific role per se? Because we got, at the moment, there are many heroes that are under one category, but they're somehow divided. Like Sonya is.
Oh yeah,
not
we
really
see this as Sonya and Artanis, right? Are they more bruisers and tanks, and then Tyrande and Tassadar? Are they really supports? Or are they off support? We've talked about whether or not we should split up the archetypes to subcategories, and then it's like, well, how far does that rabbit hole go? Should we have 13 archetypes? Probably not 13. Is 6 right? 7 right? There's definitely some of that talk. Like we kind of use honestly, if you're listening to this interview, you're probably such an advanced player that archetype system's not really for you. Like the archetype system's really for that person that's just kind of wandering in and is like, Who is this guy? Oh, he's generally tanky, he's generally damaging, he's generally support. I don't know what this specialist guy is, right? So the archetype system is more of like a gentle guide. And we trust that the players who are so plugged in, like your readers, that they're going to know how to really use it, right?
So especially in the case of Sonya, I remember when, I don't know, it's about a year ago, players don't really like her because they were like, okay, she's like the worst warrior ever. And then I think it was the Korean pro scene that somehow introduced her.
They do that a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what now. But then they showed, okay, Sonya is not really a warrior, she's a media assassin. And when she's out there and she just does her thing, she kicks ass, and then suddenly she rose up. Is that to some extent intended by you, or are you sometimes surprised by yourself?
We make each character to kind of match what that character needs to be.
Okay.
And then if the community rejects it, that's okay. Because sometimes the community is wrong.
Okay.
Especially regional communities will get really locked into one thing. And that's why I'm so glad we have things like the Global Championship Circuit. And so Korea can come in and show, no, world, you're playing Sonya wrong. Here's how it's done. And then all of a sudden, all those people who said Sonya's really bad are like, I guess she's really good.
Did you know? Well, did you know she was really good?
I'm not going to say that, we knew that if you were, no. But it just that we look at data from across the world and we try to make sure we cover each region. We try to make sure we cover every MMR bracket. And the data suggested that her win rates weren't out of line, so it didn't call, maybe a small buff here or there, or certain talents were losing talents, right? But the data wasn't calling for that. And so we're not going to rely solely on data, but it's hard to make a change when the data suggests you shouldn't make a change, right?
Okay.
And so we looked at that one hard, and then we were looking at Korea's scene, and we're like, you know what? Sonya's fine if you just run her in a double warrior comp.
Okay. Lately, we saw especially heroes that especially were focused on being kind of flashy, or like Li Ming, she gets her teleport every 4 seconds, or Tracer is the, I guess, most extreme example. Or also heroes without having a real resource like mana to pull out from. Are those heroes more difficult to balance because they have such a different mechanic? And I don't know, basically Illidan is, I think he's the best example for this, because if you buff him too much, he's going to be insane. If you nerf him too much, he's not being useful at all.
So Illidan is definitely, in the case of melee assassins that we call feast or famine, like he's either really too good or really too weak. So he's on a razor's edge of balance. I think we're in an okay spot with him right now. I think things might change, right? New metas might evolve that push him up or down.
The most banned hero in the last few weeks.
Is he? Okay. Well, his win rate data suggests he's maybe in competitive play.
Yeah.
He's insane, but his win rate data suggests he's not that far out of line compared to certain other characters, right? But definitely, like when you look at a character like Tracer or Li Ming, there's definitely some fears on the balance side about getting it right. We do feel like though, like those characters are balanceable. We can get them in line where their win rate's strong. The bigger question is about like balancing for feel, making them not feel oppressive to play against.
Okay.
And so that's something we try to weed out during our early design places and make sure that a character isn't too overwhelming. of a force to play against, and you just feel exhausted fighting against them. And so that's something that we try to keep a close eye on the hero design side. And the balance designers, we try to make sure that every ability has like either range or cooldown or mana cost or duration or effectiveness that has a number that they can play with to make sure that they get the balance in line.
How do you actually balance stuff that isn't really counterable, like Abathur mines? You can't really outplay Abathur mines unless you spam your AoE spells or you have someone who provides you with vision. Also, Zagara's Hydras, you can't really outplay them, and basically the only option you have is to hide behind your wall.
Right, so I believe actually we just nerfed Zagara's Hydralisk. I believe we nerfed its health some to try to add some more counterplay. But I agree, her Hydralisk is definitely a fire and forget, lack of interaction, lack of engaging spell. We are taking a harder look at Zagara in general and have a rework planned for her in the coming year. I don't know when it's coming out, but we are planning that. For Abathur Mines, like we definitely you can balance it. You can make the damage they do very small. That's no problem. You could decrease the amount of charges he has. There's basically we look for numbers that we can change that don't change what the ability does. They don't change the design of the ability. It just changes the raw effectiveness. It's like when Hearthstone increases the mana cost of a card by 1. Yes, the balance of the card is affected, but the card design, it still does the same. Big Game Hunter still kills minions that are high attack, right? He's just a lot more expensive. And so looking for numbers like that we can tune. So for Abathur Mines, charge count, cooldown to get a new charge, damage amount, all numbers that we can safely tune. I would actually also advise you, if you're having trouble with Abathur Mines, don't run in bushes.
Yeah.
They always place them in bushes. So
I know. It was just something that got into my mind when I tried Tracer out. And I was like, okay, there's an Abathur against me, and Tracer was just like, she got wrecked. And I was, well, I guess it's a kind of counter mechanic to Tracer because she can't.
It's a counterattack to roamers in general.
Yeah, she can't clear Abathur Mines by herself.
Yeah.
But the thing that got really into my head was, okay, I can just assume there are mice here, but I can't check it. I can't prove it unless I got, I don't know, Tessera with me or.
Well, it's when we designed Abathur, we kind of were like, hey, here's a guy who doesn't have any lane presence. That's one less body in the map. That's one less person providing you vision. Is there something we could do? And so we thought, okay, a guy who plays mines in the jungle provides vision to his team, provides a little bit of presence that he otherwise isn't bringing. So we felt like that was a fair trade-off, and that's why that design of that ability existed. In case you're curious.
Yeah. Okay. That's actually pretty interesting. Also, do you feel kind of bad for older heroes when you look at the newer heroes that basically many of them or almost all of the newer heroes have their own escape mechanic? Like, it doesn't matter if they are warriors or assassins, they got something to protect themselves or to escape a situation. But then you got heroes like, I don't know, Arthur's or who's either he's in or he's out. But
I would say Arthas has just as much of an escape option as the Haka does, or I'm sorry, as Zul does.
Okay.
Like he has just as much, and Zul does through his Z technically, but usually you're initiating with your Z, so you don't have that. I would say like
you got your bone armor.
Right, and Arthas can heal himself with Death Coil.
Okay.
And he has a root, and so does Arthas. And Arthas actually has a stacking slow that can apply to him. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, Zul, we didn't build any escapes in him. We gave him survivability options, but Arthas has those too, right? And we're going to design heroes that don't escape. Chromie has no escape. She has one you can talent into at 13 with her Hearthstone, but CCs will interrupt it. But only if she has a perfectly placed time trap that you do not clear.
Okay.
And for somebody to step on, she has no escape option in there. So we're not necessarily trying to like design every hero with an escape. Like, oh no, heck no. We want you to be punished when you're out of position.
Okay.
It just so happened that we had Tracer and Li Ming come out, both of whom we felt like their characters called for a blink or a teleport, right? Like we felt like it's not a wizard. It's not a D3 wizard if it doesn't have teleport. Guys, we have to have that, right? And it's like Tracer. If Tracer doesn't blink, it's not Tracer, right? So it's like true. Those two characters had to have that. Whereas like Dahaka, he kind of has an escape if he blows it on his Z, but Burrow is not an escape. Yeah. Right? His Dark Swarm's not an escape. His Drag's not an escape.
Okay, that's true. do you have the feeling that heroes with an escape option or who are more flashy are more popular? Or
I think that I definitely think they could be more popular to the general population.
Okay.
Because you feel safer, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's our goal as designers to make sure that they're not necessarily better competitively as a result. And so, and I don't like. I know Arthas is frequently cited as a hero who is underperforming, but I actually believe Korea has shown us he's just fine.
Yeah.
Now that being said, we do have an Arthas reworks. You know those machines. I don't know. If
I saw it.
Okay.
It's pretty insane. Also the Anubarak.
Yes, the Anubarak as well.
He's awesome. Also Falsat. I played him. I tried a completely auto tech focus build, and it's the health leech, life leech thingy is awesome. Yeah.
Actually, I think that one's already live. He's had lifesteal on attacks for a long time.
Okay, but
you probably never notice it because you're always taking another talent.
Yes, that's probably the thing. But it's actually pretty interesting bringing up Falsat to before his last changes, he was completely built around auto attacks. Then his mage build got buffed, and now everyone is playing his hammer.
Mage stat, yeah.
And now it seems like you're going to buff his auto attack.
We want both builds to be competitive and viable. We want you to be able to build mage stat or auto attack with Falsat. We want them to both have their time in place. So
okay.
This shuffle is more to make sure that both options are there. You can build into either one. And more importantly, the balance team can look to see, is AA build way better than the mage build? Buff mage build. Is mage build way better than AA build? Buff AA build. Or nerf, get them in line with each other so that we see both. Kind of like what we did with Wolle recently, where we upped her trait damage to make her auto attack options more viable. Now we're seeing much more diversity in the Wolles that you're seeing. Like I'm seeing all 3 Wolles pretty regularly, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true. Awesome. Yeah, okay, thank you for the interview.
Yeah.
It was very interesting, and after all,
if you have any other questions, I'll be around all night at the dinner, at the post playtest. I'll be here for a little bit. So if you have any more questions, just come and hit me up.
Just wanted to say you're doing an awesome job. Keep doing it, and I'm pretty excited already for the 2 new heroes, and of course the heroes that will come after this.
Oh yes, there's some pretty cool ones in the line.
Anything you can?
Nope. Heck no.
No?
Heck no.
Maybe universe?
I don't know. I'm not gonna say a word.
Rock and roll. Okay.
I'm just gonna look at the table.
I'm gonna close with Warcraft 4 confirmed officially.
Oh please! I love Warcraft 3.
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah. Okay. So, das war das Heroes Streamer Community, wie auch immer, Summit Event. Ich hoffe, die Sachen, die ihr gesehen habt, haben euch gefallen. Wir haben 2 neue Helden gesehen, Chromie und Medivh. Sind beide sehr, sehr lustig. Also beide haben sehr viel Spaß gemacht zu spielen. Beide sind stark auf ihre Art und Weise. Und natürlich ganz, ganz großes Kino, Ranked Modus, komplett umgearbeitet, Season 1. Yay! Ligen, komplett alles durch und durch und weiß ich nicht, aber das ist so ungefähr das, das, was wir so an Content erlebt haben. Dann jede Menge Secret Illuminaten-Stuff natürlich. Wir haben Meetings gehalten und einfach über das Spiel allgemein geredet, wovon ich mehr oder weniger alles geheim, alles streng geheim. Aber auf jeden Fall kam viel gutes Zeug dabei rum. Es waren halt aus Heroes alle Leute, die man kennt, dabei. Es waren mehrere Pro-Gamer dabei, Caster aus aller Welt in verschiedenen Sprachen, YouTuber, andere Streamer. Einfach nur krass ohne Ende. Jeder hatte jede Menge Input für das Spiel und man hat einfach gemerkt, die Passion für das Spiel ist riesig. Jeder möchte unbedingt, dass dieses Spiel so gut wird, wie es, also das Beste aus dem Spiel rausholen. Und das war schon richtig geil. Dann klar nochmal über den Blizzard Campus, einfach nur awesome als Abrundung. Immer schön gutes Essen dabei. Also es waren aufregende 2 Tage. Ich sitze jetzt schon direkt in der Lobby, warte darauf, dass mein Shuttle echt kommt und ich dann wieder zurückfliegen kann direkt. Crazy. Also Schlaf gab es nicht viel jetzt in den paar Tagen, aber wer braucht schon Schlaf? Das war's erstmal. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Macht's gut. Bis dann.